and this is
Alright, what's up? This is Big Will Smith. Hey, check this out, man. It's your boy Control. Sit around, man. Sit
Hi, this is Declan.
What up? This is Lupe Fiasco. Yo, what up? It's your boy Wiz Khalifa. 36 Mafia in the building. This is Kings of Leon. Hi, this is Lionel Richie.
Hi, it's Christina Debar.
Hey, what's up? This is JC.
Hello, this is Brandon Boyd from the band Incubus.
This is your DJ Carl from the Grandmaster Flash. This is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Hi, this is Eric Clapton. What's up? This is LL Cool J.
Now, man.
Electric TV radio, redefining broadcasting. Listen.
Let's get this show on the road, man.
You're listening to Electric TV and radio. You are listening to Electric TV and radio.
Show yourself. All right, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on the Liberty TV radio. My name is Daffy Matthew. So you love to come in the Liberty on the Sports. There's absolutely no reason, no excuse not to love the Nigerian Premier League. Whether you are Nigerian or you're not Nigerian, there is a reason to love it. For those who have put on the glasses of always seeing the negative, you will definitely see the negative. My mama used to say that if you set up your mind to see evil in people, definitely you will see more than evil. You would even see the devil. But if you set up your mind to see good in people, pretty soon you still start seeing God in people. And with that, I welcome you to the show today. There's a whole lot to talk about. The playoff, what's it called, man? That the Super 8 playoff is turning up some exciting and beautiful games and results and matches. The Niger Super 8, sorry. And I'm actually hoping that I don't know if your friend, what's his name now? Obosi. What's it, Bosi? Is it Bosi the guy for the other competition that wanted to buy Sheffield?
Yeah, Dozie Umobosi.
Dozie Umobosi, yes. I'm also hoping that that competition goes on. For the very first time, I'm pretty much really enjoying all of the drama that comes around Nigerian football. And I must say that the whole argument I get on Twitter with people spilling their minds and I going gung-ho defending the league. It's not like all of the things that they are complaining about. I don't notice it, but it's just that some people are hanging on to a thread of yesterday. Somebody said the reason he doesn't go to the stadium was because a January was killed in a stadium. Come on, well, you know, it doesn't make sense. You were 1 year old when that happened. January Judge, Philip Judge's younger brother.
Okay.
And that's the reason he doesn't go to the stadium. And I'm like, okay, were you in the city? Were you in Ibadan when it happened? Said no, he was in Lagos. But all of a sudden, that's the reason you don't go to the stadium. And what is funny about that is, even Philip the Judge, the other brother of the slain player, I've gone around, retired from playing football, and I've not come to coach in the league. And I've even won the league, traveled around the country. So your excuse is not a reason. I think it was in 1991 when one Reverend Silas Oduebolu preached a sermon, and he said, your excuse is not a reason. That was the title of the sermon. And it kind of like stuck in my head. Excuse is actually not a reason, but people would always make excuses for things. And there are people who say things like, oh, when you go to the stadium, they will pour peace on your body. When you go to the stadium, it's, all these things are yesterday's story. Did they happen? Yes, they did. But that's the same way all of these things happen in Italy, in England, in France, in Germany, in Portugal, Spain, just name it. But people still go to stadiums. So that's not an excuse not to go to stadium anymore. But this Gen Z, I'm talking about Gen Z, we've got a Gen Z in the house who will tell us why they think the way they think, why they behave the way they behave. Our intern, Joy Bassi, yes. Joy Bassi. We have Ida Bassi, who's a Guinness Book of Record holder now. And then we have Joy Bassi in the house. And then we have Emmanuel Sebastian that all of a sudden my wife, I don't know where, thought it was a Calabar boy. I don't know where that came from. I think I figured out where that came from. But hey, it's one of those things that you get to hear and it just makes you laugh. Having said that, it's a Tuesday, it's packed full. There's a whole lot. Arsenal beginning to reel in their net and hoping that some of the players are caught in the net and they come in Kai Havertz. I look forward to see the position he will play. I don't think that Kai Havertz is altogether a bad player, but I just think that if he's not properly positioned in the field, it just might give you a counterproductive performance. There's also Julian Timbers. I talked a lot about him yesterday. Manchester City have joined the race for the player Declan Rice, and the door was quickly slammed on their face. But that's the lesson that I learned there. People said that Arsenal was being stingy, and I was like, "What do you mean being stingy? Somebody is offering 75 million for Declan Rice plus 15 million, which is 90 million. A club that is record signing is 72 million, and all of a sudden willing to go all the way to 90, and you say they are being stingy." I thought that Man City, who are not stingy, would just come in and say, "Oh, we'll give you 200 million," and then everybody will know, okay, this is why they are bigger than Arsenal. But then they also still offered the same 90 million in a different range, 80 and 10. So and I'm asking, why do you think Arsenal is stingy? Yeah, Man City, West Ham will do everything to get 100 minimum or 120 if there's an auction for the player. And Arsenal is not far from it. It's additional 10 million. But you say the thing about another person's money is when you're calling up another person's money, you make 10 million look like it's money that you use to buy a recharge card or buy gala in traffic. But 10 million pounds is really massive money. Having said that, let's see how it goes straight away. And then there's a whole lot others to talk about. There is a player in Denmark that sexual harassment issues, and I am amazed at the fact that all Nigerians that are reporting it are already naming the player, when in the court judgment itself the player has not been named. And even in the court judgment there is an appeal. The player they're still open for an appeal. The situation is not the way. Even some Nigerian journalists, some Nigerian media have even used the word rape in connection to this conversation, where in actual fact in the court filings and proceedings, rape was not mentioned. So I'm wondering where we get all of this from, but there's a whole lot to talk about. And then I hear that the NFF president is trying to take democracy to a whole new level. The NFL president, Alhaji, say Alhaji now is Malam, I don't know, but either of the two, Ibrahim Gusso, have said that yes, they will look into the expiring contract of the coach of the Super Eagles, the manager of the Super Eagles, in person of Jose Peseiro, the Portuguese man, but the decision will be left to the fans. And I'm like, okay, last September they voted for you to run the affairs of football, and now you want the biggest decision to be made in the football hierarchy, you're leaving it to the fans. It's like Tinubu coming out to say, you know what, this subsidy thing, I have to leave it to Nigerians. Nigerians, go to the poll and vote and tell me what you think about the subsidy. Should we keep it or should we remove it? On this budget this year, we're not going to prepare a budget. Nigerians, all of you, prepare budget in your house and submit it to this website, and then we will choose the best one for everybody. It kind of like seems like that's what I am hearing, but hey, we would discuss all of that and many more. But the show this morning will take a bit of a twist. We will hear from the Gen Z people. I want to think about life, and then Emmanuel Sebastian will take the saddle fully. My name is Edafi Mathieu. So then we'll have Emmanuel Sebastian in the video. Emmanuel Sebastian, say good morning to the people.
All right, good morning to everyone who's tuned in on the show today. It's another beautiful Tuesday morning. And yes, we hope to have a wonderful 50 minutes or thereabout on the show. And, keep it up with us. It's always informative, educative, entertaining, fun, lots of things to learn. And hopefully today is another day for you to have fun on the show.
And then we've got that lady in green there. We have Joy Bassi in the building. Joy.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, you know that thing I see. Everybody can talk until you put them in front of the microphone. Okay, now. Hey. Okay, Mr. Hariwala said, before you blame Nigerian media, read the report in the Danish media. I guess they are quoting the Danish media. It doesn't amount to reaching conclusion. There is not a single Danish media that used the word rape. There is not a single Danish media that also mentioned the player, because there is a court order. And I am quoting the court. I am quoting the court. For information, I used to live in Denmark, and I have network of friends in Denmark. I still hold an office in Denmark till today.
I've actually done an interview on this case.
I've done an interview on this case before. So if it is this one, bros, Oga Ariwala, I am going to tell you for free. Okay, let me quote the courts. Let me quote the proceedings, the order of the court. Where's Anders from Denmark? Okay, so this is the conversation. Let me stretch it so you know when the story broke. This is the story that came out. Report ex Golden Eaglet who plies his trade in Denmark has been sentenced to 1 year prison term and will be deported on completion of his sentence for 3 counts of sexual assault. He has also been given 6-year entry ban to Denmark. Okay, that's one report. And then immediately I started listening to radio stations, and I heard different radio stations, sports presenters saying he's been found guilty of rape, blah, 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 blah. And I said, where's the rape coming from? Now, I reached out to my friend Anders in Denmark, and I was like, hey, Anders, this story has popped his head again. Can we have a chat about it, a conversation around it tomorrow? He said, hey, Matthew, the sentence was appealed, so the player is still protected by a naming ban. Now, if you follow the story when it first happened, I interviewed Anders on this radio, and Anders said that it is a crime in Denmark and anywhere to name the player, because even he, were trying to ask him who the player was. He was a Nigerian player because we're hearing story that is a Nigerian player, and he said this was in that it is criminal and prejudicial to name the player because there is no player name. And even the clubs, there's not a club represented. So you can't even identify the club that the player is from. But this is his response. He said, hey, Martin was appealed, so the player is still protected by a naming ban, meaning that it's a crime to identify him publicly. So officially, no one is saying who it is, even though most people already know. And obviously, we'll have to wait for the appeal trial to see if the sentence is upheld. That sentence is still not upheld. So I now reached out again, and I was like, a couple of minutes later, I was talking with Emmanuel, and I said, okay, let's have Anders in the building on the show this morning via Zoom and see what we can say. I said, can I please call you via Zoom tomorrow? This was yesterday on the show from 9 a.m. And this is what he said. He said, sorry, I'm in a meeting at that time and a few hours forward, but I don't think I would even be able to say anything anyways, because it will be illegal for me to even name any details about the player, which might make him identifiable publicly, including his nationality, and that also makes me liable, and I can be sued and be jailed for contempt of court proceeding. Until the appeals are done, nobody can mention who the player is, where he's from, and what club he plays for. End of quote. So this is the position where I stand on this conversation. I have heard so many people say things like, oh, he has destroyed his career, another intimacy. Now, this is another angle that I want to bring. I was in Sweden. I got injured in Denmark. So playing against this FC Copenhagen. Let's talk a little bit about how we report stories here. The need to just jump into conclusion is always there. The need to always, think that, oh, we're first to the news. I used to work in an organization where we did the boss did a show on somebody that died, and on Monday the person showed up in the studio and said, since you have killed me, I guess this is my ghost. It's a long time ago. Many people would have forgotten that, but the guy is a very popular boxer. Long and short is, like I said to my team here, we don't do breaking news here. We're not interested in breaking news, especially when it's involved a negative story. You're gonna wait for the whole story to unfold. Having said that, now let's look at it from this angle. The conclusions that people are making does not connect. First off, some people say, oh, that's what they do. They just see small money. They don't have sense. You don't understand the facts. What constitutes rape in Nigeria does not constitute rape, does not really mean what constitutes rape in another place. Okay, so two people are having a conversation on social media, WhatsApp or whatever platform they're having a conversation, and somebody says, send me your naked picture, or I send you Jesse and all that, and then all of a sudden it becomes rape. That's a bit of a high, conversation when you say it. But Ariwala says, don't stretch it. It's a crime in Denmark, and Nigeria is not under the jurisdiction of Denmark. A jail term has been pronounced. It doesn't matter if it has been appealed. Sunday, his brother has admitted the brother was jailed, but he's on appeal. That's my point. That's my point. Why don't we wait for the case to play itself out? Why crucify him like with our analysis? That's my own point. I'm not saying the player have not been sentenced or all that, but I'm saying I can't sit here and all of a sudden just take a whiplash and begin to whip the player and say all that, because we don't know the facts. We don't know the facts. And I've seen somebody being accused of rape for somebody that they did not even go close to. So this is me. You know, it's fun. When we interviewed Kenneth Omero the other day, Emmanuel Sebastian, you were the one interviewing Kenneth Omero, and there's a comment he made that really got to me. And he said, it's easy to say this thing because the person is not your family member, it's not your brother, it's not your relative. Would you say the same thing if they were your family members or your relative? Would the conversation not be different? I know that in the world of being a journalist, you have to, you know, hold the high line, you have to hold the standard and always, you know, hold your ground and try to be there. But I think that there are times where you kind of like say to yourself, by the way, who create these standards? Let me give you a very good example. The Titan went down to view the Titanic. On Sunday, the US government, the US Navy knew that the people were dead, but they kept everybody going till Wednesday and Thursday before they said they were dead. Sometimes, I think it was Amaju Pinnick that used this word for me for the very first time, the modicum of information. Sometimes we just have to manage information and understand that we need to look at the story holistically. That's the part that I am standing for. Is there a sentencing? Yes. Is there a player involved? Yes. But I'm not going to be here. Somebody sent me a message yesterday and said, "Oh, Idafe, because he's a player that you discovered in the Lagos FA Cup, you're not tweeting about him." It's like, wait a minute. Even if, let's say, I don't know if it's a player that I don't like, but if a player is accused of rape, should I go up and be celebrating? Oh, that's good for him. He's been sentenced to. I don't think that's my job, and I also can pick and choose what I choose to celebrate. Once upon a time, I don't think nobody criticized Nigerian football like me. No, but there's nobody in this country who's bold enough go from Obaseki to Bariboti time to Davis, who is back again in the saddle, to even the person like, oh, my godfather, the guy that I love the most in Nigerian football, Oluka Rabo, will had a fight. Like a fight that almost went to court. But sometimes you got to sit back and ask yourself, we grow, right? And in growth, you become a little bit cautious and show some understanding and give room for like, okay, let's look at this holistically. Let's look at this from a different viewpoint. And that's all I am saying. Oh, was it sentenced? Yes. Is there a case against him? Yes. Is there an appeal? Yes. But would I come on my show and begin to blame the guy? Like, I wasn't in Denmark. I don't know the whole story. Rape cases, most of the time, you don't know the whole story. I'm not trying to excuse him and all that. For rape cases?
For context, that person who said his brother has come out to deny it.
It's Harry, it's not that person, it's Harry.
I thought it was
you will not get tagged. You be talking anyhow there.
No.
It's a guy Harry Wala.
No, I saw when you read the statement again. I thought you
No, it was him. No, it was him.
But this is what Toby Adeko put out the tweet. Said the news about his conviction to jail is not the correct narrative. He was not sent to jail, no house arrest or travel ban. He is in his home in Denmark. The case is ongoing in court. The judgment was delivered Friday and his lawyer has appealed. He can't make an official statement because of the mail ban in Danish press. Unfortunately, this case is blackmail and we will continue to fight for justice. He was not sent to jail. It's sad that the Nigerian media that should support the boy are pushing the wrong narrative. They should
that's exactly what I am saying.
Understanding of the judgment before jumping on clickbait to tarnish the image of the innocent boy. He is innocent and justice will prevail. We appreciate everyone that has reached out to us. He is fine. He wasn't sent to jail. He's been injured. He's just coming back. And when the court permits, he will release a statement. So that's the words of this.
So let me give another angle to this story. You remember when Mason Greenwood was accused of rape?
Yeah.
And everybody like, oh, why we're not talking about it? And I said, I'm not going to talk about it because it's a one-sided story. And everybody was like, what do you mean? Mason Greenwood is not a Nigerian. I don't know him. I'm not related to him. I'm not a fan of Manchester United. That's the only club that I don't think I can ever support. Apart from any other club in the world, I could support it. That's the only club I know I can't support, right? Oh, and Spurs. That rotten, dirty, shitty Spurs. Okay, Spurs is even worse. I could still take my United, but Spurs is shit. Now, and you.
No. Continue. We must. You want to go there again? I was expecting you to, but in my mind I said, "Thank God they didn't go that place again." But I will still want to go there again.
Okay. Let's move on. And I said here that listen, it's easy. So you can remember one of our viewers said, all these young kids, once you give them money, they start misbehaving, blah, 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 blah. I said, guy, calm down. So anybody can accuse anybody of rape.
Yeah.
I remember when I was still working in Brilla, it was the year 1998. And some Uniland girl, I don't want to mention her name now, she's an Arsenal fan, it called me out of the blues that she was stranded in around Abramadesaya. This was around 1 a.m. And I went to go get her. They came for beach, Easter period. I went to go get her. I still had my RAV4 at the time. It has not been stolen down. And then I brought her to my place. And I had 3-bedroom flat. I gave her one space on the room, and then I was on my own. This girl, the next day, went out. I started telling people that I'm gay. What was the rationale behind saying I'm gay? She thought it was an opportunity for us to have a rumpus sexual affair or whatever relationship. But that wasn't my goal. First off, goal or no goal, she wasn't. I made a promise to myself from the one that I'm not going to have any relationship with anybody that I come in contact with on radio. Now, one, before I started working in Brilla, and this is something I like putting forward to tell people, I'm a diehard fan of Cool FM. The late, what's it called? Dan Foster, yes, the big dog was my guy on radio. See, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I didn't have this thing that Lagos people have, and I will never have it. So I was a Dan Foster fan, diehard Dan Foster fan, and then Sports Vision was the only sports show that I like. Every other sports show is shit. That's happened to me. Did you say? Now, so I used to say that Brilla FM callers are the razzest and dumbest people in the world. I used to say it regularly to my friend Sam Eledu, one Igbo guy that we live together, very brilliant, fantastic guy. And I used to say it a lot. And then even when I walked there, I still say it. I was like, man, we have the razzest. Our fans are dumb shit. They don't know anything. And people don't like it. Sometimes I say it on air, and people are like, oh, why should I be saying this? You shouldn't say that. You're affecting the market. But I used to say it. And I don't think it was the right thing, not because I was the one that was saying it. I think it was a tad bit over the line to say that about your customers, but I used to say it a lot. And so I didn't see, maybe it's a superiority complex, I don't know, a God complex, I don't know, but I just think that these people are not in my league. But then I carried that rumor, and it was spreading like wildfire. Like everybody within the circle of fans said that he's gay. This was 98, not now. Now it could just be, people could just leave it. But 98, I wasn't married, nobody know me and any girl. And that he's gay, people start saying it. You hear Joe Baba, hear somebody, I hear say you be gay. Somebody will just be bold enough to just ask you the question and just saying it. And I didn't know they have their group, they have their gatherings where they meet in the National Stadium. And I was just the rumor was just floating in the air. Even my colleagues have heard the stories. I was just there, lost in that conversation. But hey, the truth eventually come out. Because me, if you come at me, I'll come at you. And then they play the big man. If you come at me and I take my time to find out who's bringing this thing, I'll come at you. And then I told everybody the story about how it happened. And I think she stopped calling radio. She stopped messing up with people. She used to live in Dauphin. She stopped messing up and everything ended there. But that's just the point to portray. And I've had a lot of rape cases that ended up being blackmail. So it's hard for me as a person to easily jump in on a rape case. I'm not saying rape doesn't happen, and I'm not yet trying to blame the victim. But I think for Akikomi, first off, a rape case in Denmark, 1 year jail term doesn't really come across like a rape case to me. 1 year jail term, 6 year travel ban. It doesn't really come across. It's like there's a lesson I learned the hard way when I was also in Brilla. One time we had an issue. Raji is a manager, programs manager, and he said something that stayed in my head. Like, he was wrong. He did something very wrong, but he defended it with these words. He said, "No management would take side with the regular staff over a manager. That the manager would always win, and that's the reason why a girl called Atinika resigned from Brilliant at the time. Were in Bogije. I'm just giving you that as an example. That Oyibo people not going to take side against their own. It's in a very rare cases. So if they've decided this, I'm not going to be in Nigeria and take side against my own too. Whatever happened between two adults, and if it's going to turn into a blackmailing issue, I'm not going to side against my own. No, the days of being that objective is long gone. I'm not going to. Sorry, not on my show. If they look for another, there are other shows that does that. Akinkunmi Amao is not going to be wrong by my books. I'm not condoning rape, but I'm just saying that this is not a rape case. This is a blackmail. Having said that, let's go to our Gen Z girl, Alpha. Jebasi, how you doing? First off, coming here to do internship, and how does it feel, the experience? So, do you know how to speak French? A little, like how, like you are schooling in the French country, and you don't know how to speak French. What's that?
Like in the first country, they like people that speak English, but when you want to buy something, they surely speak French. So there's where we share.
Some of them say, and
you don't have no money. Very well. We don't money.
did they ever cheat you when you went there? Like, did you buy something and later found out that, hey, these people, they don't cut my head? Because my wife, me and my wife, we have a small holiday home in Cotonou. So we go there every, like, codedly, we just go there quietly, go stay. First time they cheat my wife. She went to go and buy shoes and bags and clothes for the kids, and they cut her neck big time because my wife does not know if they say ça va bien, she's saying something else and she's off the code. But I mean, they say all those are small French. My wife never know how to talk of the complicated ones. So, how was your experience?
Now we went to go and buy clothes in this market in December. So like we went there like with some friends. They were, I think it was special night or this thing that we were going for. So they like we don't went together. They went to buy so she like we now called 15,000 for
Step fast.
for we were like 15,000. What do you expect us to get money for? So it was like so like later we still bought to them. Now found out that like the thing is not that expensive in the first, but just you cannot do it. You cannot do it. So you just buy it and go.
Okay, so let's give you your segment. Let's hear from you. Why can't we understand you Gen Z people? Why are you people so complicated?
Honestly, we don't Gen Z. We have our moments. Like as a Gen Z, we are very proud and confident. That is one thing.
Very proud and confident.
Yes.
And dumb too.
This is the thing. We grew up with technology. Well, you calculator, you have calculator. Know that we can do it. Just why? It's easier. So we prefer the easier way to the complicated job and everything. But
And why don't you people listen to others? Like, why do people think like you know it all? Why does Gen Z people think that they know it all?
even myself, I don't know. But I also behave like that too sometimes. Then I think all Gen Z we are coming up while learning. So we know more. Like we grew up with technology, so we believe that we have the brain that's smarter than them, like smarter. The next generation.
Do you think that one day when they hand this country over to you people would set up a better country than the country that we're living in right now?
Yes.
You think you're very convinced about that?
Because one thing about us, we know how to work together, we know how to bring ourselves together to achieve something. So I think
That I agree. That's what I agree. I can't argue against that.
so. We surely, when it's our time, we're going to come together and make the country better than it is.
What are some of the things about the older generations that you people don't like?
Complaining, too much complaint.
Too much complaint.
Yes.
What are the things about the older generation that you love? You don't seem to like anything about us. But let me put this straight up to you that everything you have and enjoy today We made it possible. Don't blame us for the things you suffer without giving us credit for the things you enjoy. My mom used to say this thing to me, and it stayed in my head. She said, if you do not have the courage, the grace to tell people of the good things that I have done for you, please don't mention my name about the bad things that I've done, because we're even on that. You're too ashamed to say that I helped you in your time of need. Please don't mention my name in in trying to explain that I ignored you or I didn't do you any favor. And it balances it. I think that that's just the only thing that I'm not. I mean, I've got 3 kids and they're all Gen Zs, and they're always telling me that I'm a dinosaur, especially my 9-year-old sharp my daughter. That daddy, you are old, you're a dinosaur, you're this, you're the past, I'm the future. And it seems like it's a competition between the two of us. I enjoy it anyway, because she kind of like made me feel young. But there's this thing that I heard from someone, and it states, it said, if the old will listen to the young, they will be fast among their peers. And if the young will listen to the old, they'll be wiser among their peers. It's very, very important. It's very, very instructive to grow along that lines. And I hope that everybody sees that. But then let's come back to the show properly. Thank you for letting us into your Gen Z world and all that. And subsequently, we will be getting a whole lot from you. Just stay with it if you want to stay with us. But if you want to move on, you can move on. Emmanuel Sebastian, let's get the show on the road.
All right, talking about getting the show on the road. I mean, I've got some couple of transfer questions on the show, so I just have to take them. But we started the show nicely, so let's keep going. Started with some transfer stories. Why there's the tussle for Declan Rice in England. There's also the tussle for a particular player in the NPFL. I mean, transfers are going
Yeah.
as well. There's a guy called Taufik Malamo for Shooting Stars.
Shooting Stars
Yeah,
topic.
very good midfielder. I mean, Coach Benham, but I spoke highly of him when I had that post-match interview him when they played the final game
Yeah.
of the season. I mean, his 10 months contract is up already, so clubs are lining up for him. So it's more like Declan Rice here. So many clubs looking at him, Rivers United, so many clubs, and I mean, the salary is close to £1 million. So, and while he might be leaving, there's a certain Dario Ojo as well, who's from Remo Stars. His contract is also up, so he might be likely.
It's been around for a while.
Yeah, so it might be the likely replacement for Taufik Malamo, and the salary in the region of.
Dario Ojo have moved around the Southwest, Sunshine
Yeah.
Stars, 3SC, Remo, like all of that.
If he gets the Shooting Stars.
Yeah, because the Shooting Stars.
So many transfer stories making the rounds.
He almost signed for MFL one time too.
Yeah.
Now, there's a player. It's so sad that Rangers really didn't get their matches on TV. One of the games that we went to try to partially cover, their commissioner and the guy in charge of the team shut us down, and we didn't cover that game. It was a Rangers Wiki Tories game, and it was. So I covered a lot of games. I saw a lot of games this season, but the best game that was never broadcast was Rangers versus Wiki Tories. It was the best game I saw this season. Rangers were dominating. If you have Abdul Makaba in your team, you obviously will play good football. They were excellent in their play, command, performance. I saw Stone playing for Wiki Tories after leaving 3SC. But there's a player, the right fullback, a very young player, the right fullback for Rangers, very young player, like the right fullback for 3SC as well. Was very skillful, reminds me of Danny Alves and the rest of them. I think those two players, funny enough, I don't have their names on my head. God, I'm this foolish right now. Okay, but those two players are two players in the league that I'm like really hoping a couple of seasons from now they will be playing in some of the big clubs like Rivers United, Enyimba, or probably go to Europe if the windows of opportunity open for them. But they are players that, if I was a coach, the players that I want to have in my team. First off, my criteria for picking players is your ball acquisition. When you receive the ball, what do? Do you have good control or you panic? And those two players don't panic when they're with the ball, even under pressure, in tight spaces. The way they use their spaces is beautiful. And they're not afraid to turn on the style. If you play in the league, it's always very difficult. Coaches don't let you turn on the style, like express yourself. Apart from teams like Remo Stars, where the players are allowed to express themselves. Yeah. Most coaches just want, as soon as you get the ball, start moving it forward, which is not a bad system anyway, because people think that if you don't do that expression, then you're playing under a bad coach. No, some coaches just want the quick movement. They don't want you putting them under pressure, because the pressure on them to perform also is very high. But I think that guy, that right fullback for 3SC that we saw in the battle, and the guy I saw in Oka, Rangers Wiki Tories, I'll go and check the team list again and find out his name. two fantastic players in that team, and he plays with a smile on his face. There are not too many players who play with a smile on their faces, especially when you're playing at home and your team is dealing with relegation. There's a whole lot of financial issues. And there's always like this strain, the pressure. But I think that's one player that I love for the whole of the season. All the games that I saw, and I did see quite a lot of games, even the ones I was producing and the ones I wasn't producing, the ones I was watching on TV. I think I saw quite a lot of games. That's one of my favorite players. It reminds me of Ife, the captain of Bendel Insurance, but he's a tad bit more skillful than Ife.
All right, still on transfers, there's also a certain Antonio Okachi of Shooting Stars. His contract is also up, and there are talks that Eimba are looking to snap him up and put him on a salary of like 800k. And it's quite. I mean, I spoke to him, and I was like, "Yeah, what do you wait for?" He laughed and said, "He's still." He said he's still thinking about it. He will make his decision soon because I mean he's the guy that gifted me my first NPFL jersey. He gave me a Shooting Star.
I saw it.
He saw me in the stadium. I was like, we didn't say anything about it. So he just called me and said, "I've been giving out jerseys like just so I have some left. If you need them." I said, "That's fine." He sent it over to me. Delivered it to me. And
You're doing a good job.
So it was my first. I mean, it's going to go down in history. My first official NPFL jersey was gifted. So thank you so much. And
At age 200.
we are waiting for that decision. I mean, these players have their decision to make. You might be looking at it like from Shooting Stars to Ingba would be a no-brainer for you, but it's his choice.
A player went from Aqua to Enyimba and regretted the move. So not every big club movement is a great move. I'm talking of Oliseme, Cyril Oliseme, and he had to go back again to to Aqua United. I mean, the interview, you see, it's like, oh, this was one move that I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel the love that I get from Aqua United, the whole appreciation, and he had to go back.
Yeah, finally on this transfer, before I go to the transfer question, somebody sent in one of the groups. I mean, it's about Joseph Atuli. There are talks that he's agreed to join Rivers United from Lobby Stars. On the over 600k salary and all that. I saw a tweet from someone. His name is Olatumi. Like he said, he has agreed. Another twist now. He said Joseph Atuli has agreed to rejoin his ex-club, Casino United, for an undisclosed fee. Now he went on to say that he has just been told that it is a short contract for the duration of the NLL Super 8. Now, Casino United and the Super 8 NLL, they'll be playing to qualify to the NPFL. Now, he said he's just been told that it's a short contract for that duration. No, that's not a contract possible. Sign a player to play the duration of the Super 8 to help them come back to the Premier League. And you go back to
well, we have to look at the technicalities of this. So Ojo Igalo was playing in Saudi Arabia or China, and then he went to Manchester United. We've seen that before. There was a short duration contract between this Swedish guy that have dreadlock. What's his name? Oh God, I've forgotten his name. But the all-time best Swedish player before Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Jesus Christ, have a very small face. Have dreadlock. Was in the USA '94 World Cup alongside Thomas Brolin and the other guys. Oh jeez, why am I this bad now with memories? I'm getting really old. Okay, let me use Thierry Henry for instance. Thierry Henry was playing for the New York Red Bulls, and he had this window where they were the season at, and Eric Lassen was his name. Thank you very much, Izzy Patrick.
Eric, that name came to mind, but you said dreads.
Yes, Eric Lassen used to have dreadlocks, long dreadlocks. Go check his picture. He used to have long dreadlock, and I used to see him when I was in Sweden. Eric Lassen, he came to Manchester United. He played about 3 or 4 games. He scored in the Champions League, he scored in the league, and I think he scored in the FA Cup. He was that amazing player who had that short window to come to play for Manchester United and then go. Thierry Henry also did the same thing when he scored that goal against Leeds United. Now, if the law, because most times we complain without even understanding the laws of the game and the opportunities that is there. People have forgotten that Frank Lampard actually played for Man City before going to play for New York City. Patrick Vieira also played for Man City before moving on. So sometimes when you look at that, NEPA struck anyway, for those of you who are surprised. Before we go into asking those questions, we should look at the technicalities. What does the law say? Because it is what the law says that really matter more than our emotions and innuendos and insinuations and all that. But I just think that if the law allows it, it's a good one. It works well for the league as well. I think it's a plus because loopholes are in the laws for people to exploit. If that opening is there for them to exploit it, why not? I mean, they should use it.
Because I mean, Casino United are doing all they can to come back to the NPFL. I mean, it is Super 8 for those of you who are not informed or aware. Casino United will be playing in the Super 8 alongside the likes of Sporting Lagos and so many clubs who will be contesting to come back to the Nigerian professional football league. Talking about Casino United, if you follow the Nigeria Super 8, you see that they lost out to they defeated rather. It's quite a shocking result. They defeated Kano Pillars.
Yes,
They
they did.
make it to the finals in the league, which will be coming up next week. So, you know, when I saw that, I was wondering, hey, that would be nice. They just come and help them play the Super 8 and if you make it through, you go back to your so I just wanted to keep that in mind. You can see the salaries for those of you, those who are still in doubt that the NPFL club doesn't pay a handful amount of salaries. You can see, you know, the figures we put in place.
And I'm happy. Again, I think I'm very happy now that we can sit here and hold conversation around the amount of money that players have been paid. I've always said that the biggest problem we have in the league is not even the administration. People, every time people say it's the NFF and the IMC or the LMC, blame Phil Diko, blame whoever is in the FA, whether it's Amaju Pinnick or Gusu. I don't think that's a problem. The Premier League that we all follow, we don't follow the Premier League because of who's at the M of affair in the Premier League or the English FA. We follow the Premier League or the La Liga because of the clubs. I think that in Nigeria, one of the things that I've noticed, and I'm of the belief that marketing is of two ways. You're either marketing as a hunter or you're marketing as a fisherman. And most times, the way we market in this part of the world is that we market as a hunter. And the problem with hunting and marketing is that with hunting, you carry a gun, you shoot. When you shoot, you kill maybe one antelope or one deer or whatever you kill, the rest will scamper away because of the sound of your gun. But when you hunt as a fisherman, you bait. So you throw out a bait there, you catch a fish, you put another bait, you catch another one. You could even spread your drag net and pull out a lot. So I think that's where we're getting it wrong in terms of the clubs themselves functioning properly. I think that our clubs have not gotten their acts together to understand that we live in the media in the media era where it is a numbers game. And I agree that the media have always been there. But go back again and go and watch that Air Jordan movie. Life as it is today, success is dependent on numbers. Just yesterday, Timothy Dabo, who posted something that the Nigeria Super 8 was on Tunde Ednot's page. Now, for those who don't know, Tunde Ednot, if he knows you, if he's trying to be nice to you, for one post on his page, whether on Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, is 270,000 naira. I remember when we wanted to do the Super 6 in Lagos, and there was a conversation that my company is going to produce it. We were going to produce it. I had already spoken to them that I will need them. I was going to give them ₦1 million, and I will need Tunde Ednot and his gang and his team to do a lot of tweeting and posting and sharing of the link so that we could get probably 10,000 views on YouTube, which is very, very important at the time. That was my target. Unfortunately, we didn't get to do it. It's BTLS and Super Sports that did it. And I'm thinking they've not seen the need for that because the way they've deployed for the Nigeria Super 8 is different from how they deployed for the league. And I also think that the GTI, IMCD have a whole lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. The clubs must see reasons to build their numbers. You have 35 players in your team. If each player is bringing in, let's say, 1,000 in terms of number to the general pot, it will help the cost of the league eventually. And you know, the way the contract is worded, I must put this thing out because if it is in Europe, we know all these numbers. Yeah. The way the contract is worded, a lot of Nigerians still don't know that a private entity is now running the league, the Nigerian Premier Football League, called GTI, through a fund called TNFF, which is the Nigerian Football Fund. Now, one of the things that you need to understand is what goes back to the club is 45%. So let's say, for instance, you go and bring a title sponsor, and the title sponsor are paying 10 billion per month. it is 45% of that money that goes to the clubs, the 20 clubs. Now, 45% will be distributed around the club. Then there's the money for administration of the league, referees, production, a whole lot, the gamut of all. And then there's the company, the GTI, that is responsible for all of this hard work gets only, I think, about 5%. Now, let's even say the clubs are able to, because I've sat down in some meetings, I've sat down in marketing meeting, in conversation for sponsorship, and you really get excited at the introduction of the league. Oh, the NPFL, the Nigerian League, we have 40, 40 million, we always claim. When I was in Brazil, we have 40 million Nigerians are addicted to football and life. We can't prove it. There's not a single person that can prove that. We just talk anyhow. We don't have any hard data anywhere to prove that. So all those things that people say is balderdash, it's rubbish. It's like when terrestrial radio people tell you we have 20 million people listening to us now live. Now the same 9 to 10 callers from Mushi, Ikorodu, and Surulere, I call you every day. So don't come and be bamboozling people. This thing we do is where you can prove numbers. You can tell people, I have this number of people viewing me every day. The data, the analytics are there. So when you now get to the point where the company is now saying, okay, why should I give you 10 billion or 6 billion or 5 billion? What are the numbers? When you did your Super 6, what's the cumulative numbers you had over 15 games in terms of people who came to the stadium and the people who get engaged on Twitter, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on your YouTube channel? And then your 10 billion, I don't know if you watch Deal or Not Deal, your 10 billion begins to shrink. It begins to shrink, like it goes from 10 billion asking to 200,000 naira. Straight up. Because your numbers, if you're going to mention your numbers, okay, so the way people mention numbers is 1 million people, 1 million, in terms of 1 million, you have $1,000. Right? So if you have 1 million people connected to your analytics, you have $1,000. So let's use a multiplier effect, whatever mathematics you want to use, geometric progression, arithmetic progression, quantum physics, whatever you want to use. That's how you calculate it. And until you are able to prove, the way Coca-Cola will tell you we're spending $365 billion on advertising budget because we have XYZ numbers of people. We have a target of 7 billion people to reach all over the world. That's the same way they now do the calculation. And because we've not been able to reach that, it becomes a problem. So what do? We need to start creating content around the league that shows lifestyle, that tells us how much the players earn, which is something that we're not getting, which is very, very good anyway. Show us the kind of money that the players earn. Show us the lifestyle, the food, the cost of this league itself. Because how much you have to put it on TV. They don't even know how much it costs to have the league on TV. And that's why when you hear people say that the NFF is corrupt, and I'm always asking them, how much comes into have you ever tried checking the profit and loss account of the NFF and see how much comes in, how much does it cost for the Super Eagles to honor one game, and then you do all the subtraction and tell me what is remaining for you to say that Gusso or Amaju or Sanisu, Mohamed Sanisu, or whoever is corrupt. What do you even know if some of these people are spending their own money to keep the ship sailing? But because we're not a country that deals with numbers, and you're not going to blame the fans that much because we also don't come out clean to tell the people what comes in and what goes out. Because if you do that, government might end up fighting you. Then it becomes a problem. But I think that we're making progress. That's all I think. Now we have. We're doing a show talking about Nigeria. When was the last time that ever happened? So I think we're making progress in that regard. It's not going to be easy. We're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and become the Premier League. I'm not even asking that we should be the Premier League because it is even not right to be training the rabbit and be measuring the rabbit with an elephant. It doesn't make sense. Train the rabbit to be the very best of rabbits. Don't train the rabbit to try to be an elephant because it's never going to work. Trying to make Nigeria look like the Premier League is the worst expectation anybody can have. But what we can do is we can adopt and adapt. We can adopt some of the things that are working for the Premier League and adapt it here and see how it works. Because I asked a guy the other day, he's a doctor, and he's saying, hey, the Nigeria League is not like the Premier League. I said, you're a doctor in Louvre, right? Do they pay you the way they pay the NHS staff in the UK? Can you afford the lifestyle that NHS staff in the UK afford? People work as cleaners in hospitals in the UK and in Europe can afford to go four times a vacation a year. Can you try it? People to travel to your village. The guy is from Akwa Ibom. Can you travel to your village 4 times a year as a medical doctor? And then he got the message. So when we're raising this expectation, we should know where we are and the reasons why certain things cannot happen. the way we want them to happen. And all these people who keep saying Nigerian football should intertwine with music. Listen, Nigerian musicians are the selfishest people on the planet Earth. So don't even think of Nigerian football and music mixing together. It not go work. Somebody has given us a template that worked before. Unka Rabot ran this league, and the whole stadiums were packed full. Every stadium, from Agege to the Cathedral in Enugu to Kano to Kaduna, Bauchi, everywhere the stadiums were packed full. Go back to him. All this out with the old in with the new is what we haven't done. Go find out what Unka Rabot did. The man is still alive. There are people who work with him. Ask them, what did they do right? How did they do it? And then build on top of that thing that they did. And then we have a leader that everybody will be proud of. That's my opinion. Anyway, people might not agree with me, or I mean, that's my opinion.
Right. We hope to see. We can't wait to see what next season brings. Eagerly anticipating. Femi, if you're listening, the Super 8 is different from the just concluded Super 6. This is a preseason tournament put together.
Super 8 is a friendly tournament.
A friendly tournament put together by.
The Super 6 is the league.
It's the league itself. This is a friendly tournament put together by Flying Cards. And the 6 teams that have qualified, you're asking about the remaining 2 that you just saw. 2 teams are wild.
They're wild card.
So you want to stick around on Thursday, I think. I heard, yeah, Thursday, African Sports One. If you watch that show on Super Sports, you're going to see the 2 wild card teams. I'll be joining the 8 teams to fight it out in Lagos, 1st of July to 7th of July in that one. Let's move away from the NPFL. Let's talk about the Super Eagles now and Joseph Pesero. Fans to decide the fate of Nigeria's head coach, Jose Pesero. I mean, the president say that he was speaking to an interview on the BAM Loving Radio show, where he came out to say fans will now have, he will seek the opinion of fans on Pesero's future, and the contract of the Super Eagles coach, just put it out there, expires on the 30th of June, with the team winning 5 games
on Friday.
So far. So yeah, he came out to say that we have the plan to push the votes to Nigerians to hear their views and thoughts. That is the words of NFL President. So is this a good move from the NFL President? We don't know if the fans will have the final say, or I mean, the fans will decide then they will deliberate on it and all that. But I mean, bringing this out,
I think it's a nice thought when it comes to say, oh, I want to do something different. I want to get the fans involved. But I bet my life and all the money that I'm worth that they are still going to decide on the inside what happens. And it is between Finidi George, Emmanuel Amunike, and probably Sunday Olise that they would want to bank on. But I'm just thinking that we're not learning from our past mistakes. Okay, Ghana qualified us for the Nations Cup, and we had the World Cup. He had currently qualified us for the final game against Ghana. We fired him and brought in Iguavan. And all of a sudden, we played against Egypt and won, and everybody said, oh, the Eagles are flying again. We'll find our wings. And then Tunisia clipped us, and everybody said Iguavan was the devil. Now we brought in Jose Pesero. Struggled to find his bearing, but all of a sudden he's finding his very nice. Qualified for the Nations Cup, the game to spare game. We want to go the same route again. I'm telling you, anybody will bring it Averena, bring in Pitso Messamani, we would fail in Cote d'Ivoire. We will fail. See, the thing about football that people don't know is it takes a long time to put a team together. Man City, as rich and as prosperous as the world, Man City had just won the league title before. One of the greatest coach of his generation showed up, Pep Guardiola. First season, what happened? Empty-handed. He didn't win anything. Yeah. Because he had to let the players go and bring in his own type of players, and it took him time. But that one season does not happen in football. You know why? Because football is not every season. World Nations Cup is every 2 years. Some you might not even qualify. The World Cup is every 4 years. And if you take out Jose Pesero, I'm not a fan of Jose Pesero. From the one I wasn't a fan. But I mean, he's right, his wing is there. Competitively, he's lost only one game. I'm not going to judge any coach. There's never been a day that I would judge a coach by friendly matches. If you talk about friendly matches, you can win all the friendly matches you like. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't mean anything. It's a friendly game. It doesn't matter to me. What you do with competitive game is what matters. Nigeria should get over this excuse. What I say, you see, the thing about us is, and in all aspects of our life, we don't know what we want. And when I say this, people say that you're being too rude, you're condescending. But the evidence is there. The evidence is there. Nigerians protested at Ojota for subsidy removal, against subsidy removal 12 years ago. The same people who led that protest are the ones removing the subsidy. What changed? right? That's one. Nigerians said Goodluck Jonathan is not good. He's clueless. He's too weak. He's a weakling. They brought in Mr. Integrity. 8 years of the worst reign ever. What did they see in the man? I remember when they were campaigning, I asked, I said, what has this man done since he got out of government? He's not set up a company, he's not set up any business, he doesn't have any enterprise. Nothing he has done to show that he's a man who can turn around and say, get 20 cows. 20 cows that my son, my 11-year-old son can have, that anybody can have, put in a bush when they shop grass. Who judged the integrity of a human being by having 20 cows? Nigerians voted and put him in power, who's seen hardship worse than Babylon. Then we got past that. We're in this shenanigan that we're in now. We're in the era of body language. Whatever it is, we decide. Nigerians can never be trusted to take a decision that is meaningful. You can't put the destiny of a nation in the hands of Nigerians. I am sorry to say, I'm saying it live here. It's going to be there. They say the internet doesn't forget. This is one of those things that I don't want the internet to forget. Because the evidence before us proves that Nigerians don't know anything. Nigerians don't know anything. So when they say you give them the chance, Nigeria said Genotro is not good, fire him. We fired him. Have we made progress? Under Genotro, we got to the quarterfinals of the Nations Cup. Under Genotro, we qualified for the World Cup. With that team, we got knocked out in the round of 16. We didn't qualify for the World Cup against the weakest Ghana team that I've ever seen in my life. In my life, the worst and weakest Ghana team, we didn't qualify for the World Cup. That team, 11 of my grandmother will be there, but we didn't qualify. Now again, you want to trust the same Nigerians to decide who your next coach is. First off, how many of the if Nigerians really let's even do it Guso and play the card well. So if Nigerians tell you say go and play Pep Guardiola, you go fear player. So why are you trusting them with the votes? It's like saying Emmanuel, go and make a recommendation of what we need to do, and then you now come and start saying we should go and buy some of the best cameras, and I not get the money in the bank to buy it. Why did I ask for your recommendation? If I go to KPMG now, say, come and look at my company, we are bootstrapped for the past 6 years. It's time now for us to get into the eye level. And then KPMG comes out with the paper because these guys already have all these papers there. They dummy of how to move to scale your company up. And they give me, and then they tell me it's going to cost me 2 billion naira to scale up. Do I have the money? I don't have the money. So why am I bothering KPMG? So for Guso to say he wants Nigerians to decide, Nigerians are going to come. I'm going to tell you here, Nigerians are going to say, fire him, bring in Averena, we will not go pay Averena. We are paying 70,000 that we've not been able to pay for 1 year. We're still owing Genetro his salary, his severance package that we've not paid. And we don't have sponsors. The team, the value of the team is dropping every day. We're not doing anything to even show up brand appreciation. The kind of sponsors that we get as sponsors who come in as ambush market. And just how we just played the Federation Cup. And they said that one company called Tingo got involved in it. We don't know at what stage we got in. We don't know how much the cost of the sponsorship is. We don't know what the value is, whether it is in kind or in cash and whatever. And you want to trust Nigerians to vote for who the next coach of the Super Eagles. If they say bring in Mitsimani currently earns 250 or 400,000 new job, and you want to break his contract, you have the money to pay that. If they say bring in Averena, you have the money to pay that. If they say bring in who's the next possible people that you want to mention, if they say bring in these coaches that will come here and earn over $200,000 a month, do we have the money to pay? We don't. We live in a country where the national budget for the Ministry for Youth and Sports, 98% of it goes to NYC, and then the other 2% for all of the sports. That's the reason why we didn't go for the basketball championship the other time, because we could not afford the business class space for the basketball players because of the space of their legs. But we lied that one thing happened and the other thing happened. We didn't have the money. So a country that doesn't have money, a country that is cutting costs, a country that's removing subsidy, you now want them to do. Are you going to bring in Emmanuel Amunike and then not pay him? And then Emmanuel Amunike will now leak information to his friends in the media, and then it becomes an embarrassment. Are you going to bring us on the list again that will sue you to court like he did the other time? And are you going to bring in Finidi George, who is not trying to stabilize himself with Eyiba and trying to go on the continent and do something? What are you really going to do? You should know what you want to do. If you lack the ideas or the sense of direction as a leader, come out and tell all of us, and then we'll understand, okay, you need help. But telling me that you're going to trust Nigerians to make a vote, first off, what is the data that you have? What's the pool? Where's the place where you would be able to correlate the vote of Nigerians? And you want to listen to the voice of Nigerians. Do you have any database to show the number of football lovers that we have in Nigeria, the people who are connected to football? I mean, Bayern Munich, for instance, have 300,000 registered members. So if they want to vote on anything, 300,000 people will vote. Barcelona the same thing, Real Madrid the same thing, Manchester United the same thing. Please, Nigeria, what's the number that we have? Is it that the divided number of supporters club that will vote? Who's the real person that will vote? The people that you throw stadium open for, that you cannot even account for the number of people that come in. Is that the one you want to vote? Or the few radio stations that you would go and bribe their editors to decide what you want them to do, or the media? Is that the one you really telling me that they would vote? For me, I've not had anything against Gusso since, because I know that the challenges facing him is big. And with all of that, I know he's going to knock down. He's an accountant. He's going to knock down, try to sort out his bills. And he's been doing that very well. But when I heard that comment, I was like, hey, no, the demons have come. They're taking over this man's head.
The thing is, we don't know if it's going to be a foreign coach or a local coach. That's another talking point entirely.
There's no local coach. Is it Nigerian coach or a foreign coach?
Nigerian coach or a foreign coach. So, even if we're going for a foreign coach, I'm going to get the best ones, due to funds and all that. But if it's a Nigerian
Nigeria cannot get best coach. Nigeria and best coach is not in a conversation. That's one. What you should have is what you can afford.
Yeah.
I like a Ferrari. I drive an Honda City right now.
But we can't afford it at the moment.
I cannot afford a Ferrari. I like a Camaro, a Bumblebee, but I drive a Honda City. Not because of fuel economy, but because of my budget. You understand? I want the studio to be a digital studio. I can't afford it right now. I will do the best out of this ramshackle that I have. Nigeria can still make the best out of the situation that we have. The problem plaguing us are a lot. There are a lot. And 99.9% of it have nothing to do with coaching. Absolutely nothing to do with coaching. I would bet you anything that bringing the best of the best coaches at the same result will City get. The same result. The time we've ever succeeded in Nigerian football, look at the history of Nigerian football, that we've ever done well. There was a mix between having domestic players and international players. We started struggling when we had more born in the abroad. I don't have anything against them, but policies, sometimes when you make a wrong policy, you have to change. Even America had the last 40 years have had the worst foreign policies ever. No big deal. You make mistake, you can adjust. Okay, we'll be making mistake with it. We created the Oyibo Wars, the worst defense line we've ever had in the history of this country. We created the born in abroad midfield. It's the worst midfield we've ever had in this country. The midfield pair of Aribo and Alex Iwobi cannot walk into any of the Super Eagles team from 1960 to now. I'm not joking about it. Forget that thing that Kenneth Omero told you. It is the truth. People might not like to hear it, but it is the truth. Even Kenneth Omero could not defend it when I asked him, this midfield will I get to? Name any player of the past who they go fit this place. That's not. So, first off, are you going to bring a coach now that will turn Alex Iwobi into Edgar Davis, or that will turn Joe Aribo into Luka Modric? At national team, you don't coach people. You just psych people. National team is not a place where you coach people. You get into their psyche. So a player will not sabi cross ball like Moses Simon now, you think say na Joseph Person will be the problem. Okay now. When I go soon go bring Babalawo to go to Super Eagles.
All right, talking about the Super Eagles, I think we'll wrap it up with this question from Juice. I mean, I've been talking about this question regarding transfer. I wanted to put it to you, so if I don't ask this question, maybe Juice may not drop in message again. So he said, please help me ask Elegbete, what does he think about Iheanacho and the links to AS Roma, Joe Aribo and Ndidi links to Turkey? Will Turkey be a good move playing in the Champions League with Galatasaray? So basically, this person is saying your thoughts on Kelechi Iheanacho to AS Roma. I'm not using Mourinho. I don't know if that's going to work, but I don't know your thought. But that and Aribo and the Turkey be able to.
It will surprise me if Kelechi Iheanacho is actually signed by Jose Mourinho's AS Roma. Probably because it's affordable, it's cheap, and his salaries will not be big. Maybe that's the reason why. Jose Mourinho does not work with lazy players. Kelechi Iheanacho is the acronym or the definition of a lazy player. Again, in the current Super Eagles, is the most talented player, the most skillful player in the team. But see, having skills and being lazy make your skills useless. Sometimes people mistake being languid, being silky for lazy. No, Kanawako was languid, silky, but was never lazy. He was always up to his game. How he managed to play 5 African Cup of Nations at this point will still beat my imagination. Even when he was on penalty duties, he missed it. But hey, you cannot fault the man, right? But Kelechi Iheanacho is sometimes I am tempted to say Kelechi Iheanacho is a lot more talented than Kanu Nwankwo, but he's super lazy and borderline dumb. So when I heard the rumor that Roma is going for him, I was almost like, Roma, Jose Mourinho is like you have to walk. Like he uses the walk, the shift to override the talent. So if this guy is going to go there, they go fight to Jose Mourinho will call him out unless he's ready to walk. That's one part of the conversation. Wilfred Ndidi is a player that I have very high hopes, like really, really high hopes for. I expected a whole lot from him. I think he's got talent. He's a very good. At some point, he was rated one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Then there was injury, and then there was a school and all that. So yeah, I'm sitting and saying they got relegated. Beggars don't have choice. They got relegated. It's either he plays in the championship or he goes anywhere that he top flight football. And for all of the performance at Leicester City, he didn't even play in the Champions League. Galatasaray will offer Champions League football. For all the greatness of the coaches and their mock-catches, some of their best football were played in Turkey. So we're not going to sit here. What right do I have coming from Nigeria with the Nigerian league that I am supporting to go and talk down the Turkish league? I don't have the right to say that. And for a player relegated playing in the Premier League, I don't think we even have the right of choice. Say he shouldn't go here or he shouldn't go there. If it's good for him, if it's a choice that he wants to take, I'll support him. It's not like if he goes to Turkey, he will play for the Nigerian national team. He will play. Yeah. So I think he should go there. For Joe Aribo, well, I'm not surprised. I said when he signed for Saturday, I told you that they were going on relegation. And they were going to go on relegation. And you were like, oh, I'm being too mean, I'm being too harsh. And a lot of people said that here, all of them are not hearing him. For Joe Aribo, he really needs where there's some good in his game. There's some good. It's just that one, I'm a Warri boy. Grew up in Warri and Port Harcourt. Watched some of the best footballers play. And then my exposure to international football was 1986, Maradona, Enzo Schifo, and go on and on and on and on. Zidane, Ronaldo da Lima, Marco van Basten, Ruud Gullit. These great players are the players that I watch. I'm not one of those who woke up, started following football with the Premier League that play rubbish football, right? So the standard that I have, I watch people like Vominia Boban play football, Robert Prosineski play football. I watch Stefan Effenberg play football, Mathieu Sama, Lothar Matthäus, and all these guys, Ronny Vola, Jürgen Klinsmann play football in their very prime or growing from whatever. And I want people like Stephen Keshi, actually Akini, Daniel Dabola Mokachi, Sonny Olise, one of the best line midfielders in the world, Andre Pello, just to name a few. So when I look at people like Joe Aribo or Alex Iwobi, and I tell you, yeah, from my own conviction and out of the abundance of what I have been fed in football, that this guy is not how to play football. I'm speaking from my own perspective. My perspective might be different from maybe a Gen Z who just think that these guys give them orgasm because of 1-2 games where they play one touch, and everybody feel good and hey, they are good player. So I'm not going to be able to tell you whether he's too big or too like the Galatasaray is too small for him. No. Who is Joe Aribo for anybody to say Galatasaray is so small? It is a regular playing time. It was a certain thing that was going down and was training with the under 23s. Let's not forget that was how good. That was where he was good enough for. The coach considered him not good enough to be in the first team, and they put him on the under 23s. People might say it's racism. People might say it's hatred. It's might be dislike. I was in Abuja. I said, why were you not playing with the team? Is it that you are injured? And he said, no, it's just that the coach doesn't like him. Well, anybody who is free for exam because you teach and not like him. But at that same class where you do person carry first, and that same school where you go person carry first class, it's as simple as that. Nobody, I have never met anybody who's driving before who said it is my fault why I have an accident. There's always one fault. The brake failing. You know, because I look at yash, or I look at breast, or I press phone. Everybody always say that the brake failing. So there's always an excuse for the failure that people go through. But fact is, sometimes you have to do introspective thinking. And some of these players are not really as good as we think. And again, where they are going now tells you why we shouldn't blame somebody like Jose Peseiro. Right? Chelsea had a worst season this season. Look at where their players are going to. Players who we thought were not good enough. Look at people fighting over Kai Havertz. A team that almost won the league title was looking for a Kai Havertz. Manchester United is on their knees begging for Mason Mount. Our players are going to Galatasaray, are going to go so Gary for someone for Turkey. That's exactly what the coach of the Super Eagles have to work with. And again, somebody sits where they are, tell you that he wants these fans, this bunch of ignorant fans to vote who the coach is. The fans are also going to vote that you should give them their money, pay Ganatra's money, pay Joseph Pesero's money, and all that. So sometimes I just think that I'm not in a good position to decide their fate because they have not also given us enough materials to work with, unfortunately.
All right. Hopefully they get to make the best career moves, and they have a strong decision to make. The summer window is still very long, and we'll wait to see breaking news as regards the players, as regards transfer stories. And with that as a wrap on the show today, I want to use this medium to appreciate everyone who's tuned in on the show, who joined the live, the YouTube. And not forgetting the Igalo interview. I mean, it's over 8K views.
Yeah,
The
it's
comments,
such an online. Right?
the comments, the sometimes I just
Thank
go,
you guys. Thank you.
I just go on.
Namaste.
Sometimes I just go on Google. I just type Audio Gallo, go to the news section.
I want to
see
ask
so
you.
many-
I want to ask you this question. I need to hear from you. I know you've done quite a lot of interviews. How does doing Audio Gallo's interview and Kenneth Omero interview? How does it do to you?
I think this is it's the.
Drew, I see you.
I think it's. I think should I say my best set of interviews I've done, not because of yes it's involved the caliber of players that they are, but the honesty, their answer, the conversations, how they opened up with so many things. I think it makes it takes it to the peak of interviews I've done so far, and it was so refreshing. The quality of itself as well. I mean, best of qualities in terms of visuals. Audio. Shout out to our producer as well. America Jawadi did a wonderful job. So it's a privilege. It's one of the best I've done, and hopefully
I'm looking
I'm
forward
looking forward to beat that.
I'm looking forward to you interviewing FIFA president and CAF president. I'm not going to do any
You don't want to
interview.
start something on a high note.
I'm not going to do any interview in this office again. Never going to do any interview again. Drew, all those your boys, bring them. Emmanuel will interview them. I'm not doing any interview again.
I mean, I know the kind of messages I've got.
A lot of people think I'm making a mistake. Carrying some people say I'm giving my crown to Emmanuel. It's a mistake. I don't know if it's a mistake. I don't know.
But I mean, it's a privilege, and when you do something for the start and you set the bar so high, it's a challenge to beat that bar that you set.
No, you don't work with me, and you expect the standard to go down.
But once again,
Drew is promising that he's going to get you some guys to do interviews with, and let's hope that we're able to get you UK visa so that you will go and meet Drew, and Drew will take you around, and you will sit with quite a lot of people, and we'll get that done. Chikadibia that we were in Dubai together, just joining, but we're packing up now.
all right. Once again, thank you to everyone, and keep it up with us on the YouTube channel. You're going to see the Omero interview. Should I say this week? We don't know what our producer is up to.
There's Salah. Your producer is running away today to go to Salah. Next week, Kenneth Omero's interview is coming next week, but I think we'll get a snippet. I'm begging him to just give me a snippet because he came in yesterday. We needed to do something for GTI, for the league, the wrap up of the league that we did, the whole interview that we put together. We need to do it for GTI, and then after that, we'll do. Let's say you should go and let's say you have Mo Salah. This is the part say you have Mo Salah. All right, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Please, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, do want to subscribe to us. We are chasing 12K subscribers now. In a few days, we should be at 12K. Help us to get there. And then the target is 1 million for starters. That's first level. And then after 1 million, we'll start looking for 10 million. But God bless you for joining us. And thank you, Emmanuel Sabasi, for being on the show. Nigerian Players GPS, where Emmanuel gives you an update of everything that has to do with Nigerian players everywhere they are, both in the Nigerian League and across the globe. Stay tuned on the radio. Yes, if you don't have the mobile application, please download it. It's on iOS and Android. Yes, it is Elegbete TV Radio. Download it there, or you listen on www.elegbete.com/radio. You'll have yourself a wonderful day. My name still is Idafi Mathieu, and thank you for our Gen Z intern, Joy Bassi, for joining us. One day she will be on the Guinness Book of Records as well. And Emmanuel Sebastian, as always, greatest guy, face of this radio station. God bless you. Bye.
Hello, everybody. What's up, people? My name is Timmy Dakuro, and you're listening to Elegbete TV Radio. Stay tuned.
What's up, y'all? This is Tupac.
Hey, this is Lady Gaga. What's up, y'all? I'm Beyonce.
This is Mason Jackson. This is your boy, Baby Bash.
Hey, this is Justin Bieber. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Kelly Clarkson.
Hey, what's up? This is 50 Cent. This is your